Nintendo just released a brand new patch in Mario Kart World, and there's a ton to cover. So I won't be going over everything today, but I wanted to focus on the section about bullet bills. They received a huge buff allowing for players to not only control their bullet bills much more freely on every single track, but also on the tracks where bullet bills were horrendous on, like Starview Peak, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road. They got a huge speed boost in certain sections, added on to balance out this weakness that they once had. So with this new update to the bullet bill, I wanted to give you guys the best bullet bill spots on every single track from both new and old strategies to give you guys a good idea as to when you should use this now very valuable item in Mario Kart World. Enjoy. So welcome one and all to the ultimate bullet bill guide. This first trick is tricking off the cliff to end up towards those boxes and building on the top path. That's really good if you can get it. And the other ones on Mario Bros. Circuit, I showed the intro. You can cut off that turn as well on Crown City, our next track. And this will drop you right into the set, so it's pretty nice. And this next one, you guys might have seen before, but you can cut off this entire U-turn with this bill. And this will drop you right into the first set on lap 3, which could be very nice to cover some shocks. And then this one you could not do before. This one, you charge jump, and you barely even have to touch the grass in order to bill through the shortcut. And it takes you a very long ways, almost into the set. You can take that shortcut if you want to. You can also take this Shroomla shortcut and then bill instantly through the grass, and this will take you all the way until last set. So it could be very good for just catching up. And yeah, now we got this final bill on Crown City. This one will take you all the way to the finish line if you bill in the grass. You can do that from the bottom path, you don't have to go rail, but this can be done in midair, which is pretty cool. So here's an example of the patch actually taking out and nerfing some of the extension zones. Normally this would be a full build extension where it would take you past this entire next turn, but it drops you right after the gap cut, which kind of sucks. So that build's no longer really that viable. However, Slick Strat, the one and only, if you know, you know, you can actually take this right rail path, which is kind of cool, and it drops you right into the shortcut. You don't have to go there if you just want to hold left. You can go the normal path. But you can also build through the grass, but you just have to touch the grass really early on in order to get it. It's really nice because you can build much, much earlier than you could before. And this one's a bit strange. So bills, they won't let you go on rails anymore unless it's a completely separate path. So this is like a shortcut, so they don't really consider that a path. So it looks kind of weird there. Like, why did one go through the grass and one didn't? Well, basically you have to full on attach the rail, and then the bullet bill will take you through the final grass cut. It can be decent. I think I'd rather just play it safe and go through the grass that way, but you know, if you end up in that situation, you can go for it. These DK Spaceport bills, they're all, you know, different flavors of the same chip. You know, it's all different ways that you can kind of cut off this grass without getting in the grass, basically. So this last one is probably the most important and probably the one you're going to want to learn, if anything. And that's to left trick, and the bill takes just a big U-turn, and it'll take you all the way to the finish line, as long as you don't pass too many people. So that one's pretty nice. Now we got Guy Bazaar. We have this little ruins on the side that perfectly carves out a bullet bill spot for us, and we just get to go through the entire shortcut. And there, the bullet bill actually doesn't go on the rail. So just like on Whistlestop Summit, it's not a completely separate path. It's like attached to the main path, so it doesn't really count. And that way, you are not going to be built off rails anymore on Guy Bazaar, which is kind of cool. It makes it a little bit of a better runner, I would say, because you can kind of play from the mid spots a little bit easier. So you can make turn skip and bill. You can also go around turn skip and end up billing really early through the grass. You'd have to kind of wait to get in the grass a little bit. But now you don't have to do that anymore. It's much more lenient. And this will actually drop you right before the set, which is really nice. Sometimes the bullet bill will drop you right after, which is not ideal. And this Wario Stadium bill, I kind of just found this on my own. You go up top and bill on that rail, and this will take you right past the set, which is kind of unfortunate. So it's not really a good bill strat at all. This one, though, is pretty good. You bill on the rail, and this takes you all the way until second set. And with the fact that you have more control over your bill, you can actually get dropped off straight into double. So if you have, I don't know, bill plus star, for example, you can do that strat and end up covering both sets, and it's really, really good. So here as well, another instance of the rail not really, I guess, working. But this time the bill decides to, like, attach to the ground almost. It's really nice. Gets a lot less air than it did before. And it just makes that bullet bill a whole lot better. And of course, you can bill through the last cut, but just a little bit earlier. And now this will take you all the way to first set. You guys have probably seen this one before, and that's every bill for Wario Stadium. Now on Airship Fortress, another very infamous bill spot. Bill at the second coin, and you will go all the way through the glider and all the way down the spiral. And this will go a lot tighter now. I've actually gotten bill bumped from like third to last because of this bullet bill extension. So if you are in the front, you actually got to be very, very careful you don't get bumped by bills. There's also another interesting bill spot. You can build really, really early in this dirt patch, and it'll take you through this cut. And the bill used to be able to go on the rails, but I'm holding hard left. It's not going on the rails. So plenty of instances of bills no longer going on rails. And if you get hit by a bill on a rail, if you didn't know, that is absolutely devastating. So it basically is worse than getting hit normally by like a red shell. So it's kind of nice that they no longer do that. This first bill cut right after the wall ride, it's not really that good. It could come in handy in some situations if you're pretty far behind, but it gives a pretty bad drop off. This one is a little bit better, but the problem is if you're pretty close to the pack, this will actually drop you off early a ton of the time, and it won't take you all the way to this set. But maybe it's lap 2 and you need to catch up. That might be a good spot for you. And then here, this bullet bill spot I just found, go left of that Christmas tree. It'll actually take you all the way. Actually, I think AJ found this. Takes you all the way to the final straight. He might have found a bill spot that went a little bit later. But anyways, now the bill extension you can build a little bit earlier in. A lot of these bill spots originally had just pretty strict timing, I guess. And now it's a lot better overall. It makes a lot more sense too. Maybe too much in the opposite direction, because I mean, like, look at that bill. What is that? Why am I able to bill off the track and it takes me all the way past the cut? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, also on Starview Peak, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road, they just buff bills all around. Basically, anytime they're in this wide section, you will go extremely fast, much faster than you did before. And this Sky Has Sundae bill is a great bill extension, actually. If you just hold left right after you bill, just keep holding left and holding left, it'll take you past all the pink ramps, which is really, really cool. And then, of course, you guys know about this final bill spot. You just get in there with your bullet bill. I think you have to wait maybe a little bit longer now with the patch, which is kind of strange. Might be wrong about that. It might be the same, but when I was doing it, it felt like I had to wait a little bit longer. And this bill right here can take you to the final straight if you just bill into the boxes. It'll take you around the final turn. And this isn't that much worse than billing in that turn off the track. So you have a speed item afterwards, you can take advantage of that. And on Wario Shipyard, you actually don't want to even get out of the water before you bill here, because of the fact that this bill will take you all the way to the boost panel. If you bill any later than that, it will take you past that ramp and you won't be able to get on the rails. You can also bill on the rails and take out some potential targets if need be. And it takes you to past the finish line, which is pretty nice. And this bill extension used to be a lot more lenient, actually. This is one of the few cases where a bullet bill spot is less lenient. You have to go a little bit wider. Normally you can go pretty far deep and you'll make it, but the bill goes and spazzes out on the left wall if you do it like you used to do, if you knew about that bill extension. Now this is a bill extension or a bill spot you don't want to do because there's just a much faster way to do it. Instead of charge jumping and waiting so long, you can just bill in this grass. And it takes a similar line, but you get to bill a lot earlier. So that's going to be the case for a lot of bill spots. You're going to want to find ways to get to the spot you want to bill faster, rather than... And maybe be a little bit more flexible as to where you're billing. Just because, you know, as long as you can cut off some off-road, if you bill early, it's probably better. But yeah, that first bill spot, people have seen a lot. You can cut off a lot more of this ending grass cut as well. And this will take you a long ways and even drop you in the item set, which is pretty nice. So if you bill a little bit earlier than you would normally, it'll get an extra item. And there, you can bill on the rail, and since the bill doesn't want to take the rail, if you hold left, it'll actually cut off that turn entirely, which is really cool. And that's a really fast bill. Now this one, I don't really like this one so much, but if you have like bill plus a golden mushroom, for example, or bill plus triple shrooms, this is a very good bill spot because it will drop you right before the cut. So that's pretty good. This one, however, does not drop you before the cut. So if you want to take a bill to the finish line, or if the pack's really close ahead of you, you can take this one instead. Because this will take you all the way around the final turn, and it takes it much tighter than it did before. So that's pretty nice. And then this bill is really cool. I like this bill a lot. If you build really early in the off-road, just before the sign, it'll take you through the final shortcut like you would just bill through it normally. So it's very weird how that works. Like that feels a little bit too lenient, but it's still really nice. This is an example of a bill extension actually extending further than it normally would. Like on Whistlestop, it extended less. This extends more because for whatever reason, you weren't going as tight as you were before, and so you get dropped off after the item set and after that ramp. You can also bill like this if you're going into the lap with a bill. You can get on the rail and then trick to the right into that shortcut, and it drops in the same spot. You can also do a turn skip bill where you don't even have to get a charge jump. You just have to make sure you don't dive off completely. You gotta get a trick off the fence, and this will take you basically all the way to the finish line. So this is a really, really strong bill. I'm gonna guess we'll see a lot of this on Peach Stadium. And Peach Beach now. We're heading to lap 2 because, of course, there's not many build possibilities beforehand because you can't really pull one. But yeah, you can build pretty early in that box shortcut. You can also charge jump up here and do the Nisk, but then bill. And this will be a little bit faster. It is a lot more risky, especially if you don't get the charge jump, but this will drop you right into the set as well. But you can also build right after that, like, dolphin buoy, I guess. Is that even a buoy? I don't know. But it's a little bit slower. However, it's a lot safer. Now, Salty Speedway. This track actually changed a lot with the bullet bill change because now the bill doesn't want to change paths. If you're holding left, it actually won't go to the middle like it normally would without any assistance. So, yeah, it takes you after the set as well, which changes a lot about the track. You can also build on the top path, of course. And this is a really nice build to catch you up. It'll drop you right into this trick, which is pretty cool. And if you want to build that takes you to the finish line, you build right before the set, just as you get around the turn. And it looks like it's about to take the cut, but it actually doesn't. It goes around. But it takes it pretty tight, so it's actually a much better build than it was before, which is really nice. And now we move on to Dino Jungle, where you will see that you can take this bill onto the rail and right trick it instantly bill. And you have that small patch of grass in between the wall and the left side where the rail kind of swerves off from. And that's enough of an off-road patch for you to take and get the shortcut. So you can also build in that grass, and it'll take you all the way, even if you hold right, basically into the shortcut. And here, you can build into the shortcut a lot earlier than you would before. You'd have to wait about 2 seconds to get halfway through the shortcut in order to build, and it wasn't really that good, to be honest. But this one is much, much better. You can go tighter as well and not necessarily get a box. But you do want to get like a mini hop in before you do it. You can build on the cones too, and this will take you into the final glider. So this is actually a really good build if you just want to cover the final set, say on lap 2 or lap 3, for example. And there's 2 versions of box build now. You can actually trick off to the left, and the build will just take you through the cut, which is kind of funny. I'm not too sure which one is faster, this one or just doing the box cut with the build. Literally have no idea. If I had to take a guess, that first one's faster. But if you ever go for box cut, you can get it like this and actually build pretty early. So that's pretty nice. Again, not too sure which one is faster. And they both take you to the exact same spot. Now we go to Cheep Falls, where there's a couple nice build spots. You have this build on the rail here, which could take out some people who are doing a more fancy line. And it takes you just past the set where you can get actually a water trick coming out of it, which is kind of nice. You can also build in this cut. This build's not that good, to be honest. I wouldn't really do this build too often, unless you're trying to... I mean, there's probably very rare situations where you want to do that, to be honest. Maybe if it's like lap 3 you want to build there. But yeah, you can build really, really early in this final cut now, which is really nice. You can just go with it head on instead of having to kind of like drift into it a little bit or wait in the cut quite a bit. It takes you around that first turn. And this one is really cool. I like this build a lot. You basically go into the lamppost, and as long as you touch the sand, it'll take you all the way through that shortcut and into the item set. Drop you off right here so you can get some more items. That's a really good spill spot. Especially if you're bagging and you pull Bill, you can just bill up immediately, and it's a really good spot. So Dandelion Depths. This bullet bill, not so good anymore. This used to be a decent bill spot, but it kind of drops you off in a bad spot, unfortunately, if you end up holding tight. This one, though, just got much better. There are uses for both of these. If you want to cover an earlier shock, or, you know, you think there's going to be an earlier shock, you probably want to use the first one, but this drops you into a perfect line, which is really nice. And of course, you have this ending shortcut bill, which you actually don't want to build this early. Reason being is because this will actually not give you extension, because the extension zones are a little bit less than what you think they are. So you actually want to build kind of late and make the bill not necessarily kind of like swerve around, IES. And this will take you all the way around the spiral, which is really nice. So you just got to be careful with a lot of the bullet bill extension zones. They're not as big anymore as they used to be. But yeah, for Boo Cinema, you can actually build through this entire first cut. So bullet bills are going to be really, really good on this track now. They used to be kind of meh. People would build at the second set a lot just to dodge the shock and cover a lot of potential shock spots. You can also basically build off the track, and this will take you to the finish line. So this is a very good lap 3 build if you end up pulling one at, you know, second set lap 3, maybe like a golden plus bill. Take you basically to the finish line. You don't need another item. It'll just take you all the way there. For here, you can build on the rail, and this will actually take you onto the other rail, which is very intriguing, since you'd think the build would want to stay off the rails like we've been talking about, and it drops you right before the cut, which is pretty cool. You also can build in the lava. You gotta build a little bit late. It's kind of a strict timing, especially if you want to take a cut afterwards, because I build basically as early as I could, and it still kind of dropped me a little wide, so you probably want to take that rail build a little bit more often. You can also build on landing, hold left, and you get dropped off after this turn, which, you know, maybe you want to build earlier to take that little mini shortcut, but there's not really a good alignment for it afterwards, so you have to build really, really early. So this build's also really cool. You build before you even land, and this will take you all the way to the finish line, which is really cool. So I'm definitely going to be using that build a lot. And of course you have the final lava shortcut build, which you do not have to wait nearly as long. You basically have to touch the lava in order to get it. For this one, you know, you could be like 10 feet high in the air and you'll be fine. Now we got Moo Moo Meadows. There's a lot of build spots on this track. You got this first item set build shortcut, which will take you actually all the way past the second item set, which is not super ideal, but it could come in handy in some situations. You also can now build a lot earlier in this grass, which is really nice because this also drops you before the last set, which now will actually be more useful than this other build because the extension zones, like I said, have been reduced a little bit. So instead of this taking you basically to the final straight like it would do before, this only takes you barely past this set. So you definitely want to not be using this bill nearly as often. And here you can get a cow bouncing bill, and this will take you through the shortcut. And that ramp as well, which is pretty nice. And this will take you to the final straight, which is pretty cool. And then you have this final bill where you can kind of charge jump into this left flower patch, and it takes you through the whole cut. You can maybe go for tricks and bill a little bit later, but if you want to go in early as possible, then that's one way to do it. Now you have Choco Mountain. So this, I really like this build spot now. You can build really early on the left side here, and this just takes you all the way through. And the bullet bills are much better here on Choco Mountain because you can hold left so much tighter. It actually even drops you right after set. So here, this mud patch is actually kind of finicky still. You want to get in as far as you can into the mud patch in order for it to really take advantage of your bullet bill and its shortcut taking abilities. You want to have it go even tighter. You can go up on this rail, and like I said, you want to go as far in deep out into the mud as possible to make the bullet bill go as tight as possible. So it's another bill spot. You also have this Shroom world record bill spot where you build really, really early on. You used to have to go pretty far in there to make it, and then this will drop you right into basically the golden strat. So if you have a golden or a mega, it's a very, very good spot. And here you can build a little bit tighter than that, but I just wanted to show that you can get an item box with that bullet bill if you go a little bit wider. You can still take it at a really strange angle though and be fine, and you get dropped before the set. So now we got Toad's Factory. Toad's Factory doesn't have much, but you can build right after you get the second trick on that rail. And this will take you all the way until the final set, which is a classic bill extension. There's also one that people like to go later with and build like straight into the middle of the boxes. This will take you all the way until the basically final boost ramp, and you can take shortcuts afterwards. The build is also a lot more lenient with this dirt patch. You can build a lot earlier. You used to have to go really, really far to the right for the build to even have a chance of taking the shortcut. So this is really nice. Quality of life upgrade on Toad's Factory. And now we have Bowser's Castle. This is kind of weird because it feels like Nintendo accepted this shortcut because you can build really, really early in that now and make it, which is kind of nice. I would suggest still building a little bit later because it does take a tighter line mid-air, which sounds weird, but it, you know, if you need to dodge a shock or if you need to cover a shock early, then it kind of makes sense to do that. But yeah, building at the end of the glider will get you right before the shortcut. You can get this pole, by the way, and build really early. And this build is insane. Like, it takes you all the way, if you go on this right path, onto the ground right before this trick, which is really, really cool. You can also, if you don't want to play it so risky, because that pole can be a little bit finicky sometimes, you just build in the lava. And my guess is it's about the same. Maybe the pole's a little bit faster. But if you don't, it's probably not worth the risk. But yeah, this build extension, by the way, doesn't work anymore because builds don't want to go on rails, like I said earlier. You have to build right after the first ramp in order for it to go on the rail. So it's not too big of a deal, but a lot of the times people would build like right even on the glider, and they would just hold right and always make it on the rail, but you can't do that anymore. So now Acorn Heights, you can build kind of early in this shortcut now. And what you want to do is be neutral and then hold right when you get close to this vine. And it will take you... I ended up holding left here, so that's why I ended up in the dirt at the end. But it'll take you on the vines now. And if you build up this coin, this is a really, really good bill spot. Because after this bill ends, if you hold left, you'll be on the rail. And then you can take the ending vine shortcut right after your bill, which is really, really cool. You can bill a little bit later. And end up, if you have like a golden, for example, you can have your bill basically drop you off right before the ending shroom cut. So that could be a potential option. So you could also build on the second vine, and this will take you around the first turn, which is really cool. And then you have this ending strat, which unfortunately takes you past the set. I think there's ways, if you go a little bit wide, you can maybe make it drop before the second set, but yeah, I wouldn't use that one too much unless you really need to catch up. Mario Circuit now. You can bill in the 2 shroom cut. You're not going to get this bill very often, but if you're really far in the back, or if you're on like an intermission of Mario Circuit, for example, you could easily find yourself in a position to use that bullet bill, and it's busted. It's insane. There's also 3 other bullet bill spots on this track. You can build this first off-road, and this will take you all the way until right before the cut after last set, which is really nice. This one is brand new because it actually takes you tight at the pipe. It used to go around the pipe, so it saves like an extra half a second compared to what it did before, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, you have the infamous bill extension. This one used to take you to the finish line, but it doesn't do that anymore. It only takes you, because of the bill extension reduction, it only takes you here. So if you have mushrooms, you can actually kind of take advantage of that. But yeah, Rainbow Road now. You can build on the, not turn skip, the path switch. There we go. And if you have like a golden after this, you can take good advantage and get up into the front, which is pretty cool. And these 2 bills are my favorite of the entire video. We saved the best for last. This is an incredible bill shortcut. You go kind of wide with the shroom cut, and you can bill up, and it just takes you to the other path across the way. So, not only can you do that, you can do another version of this. You can actually go on the left path. I don't know which one is faster, but this one is definitely cooler. Look, you just hold left, and you're in the middle of the void, and you just bill, and you make it. It's really cool. So, both probably have their uses. Maybe you want to go left to avoid more people, because the right path is more popular. Also here, you can build really, really early in this cut. It'll take you through it, which is really nice. And this will take you all the way to the thwomp. And then there's this bill as well. If you go and trick in the middle of the arrow, in the middle of the chasm, if you bill, it'll just save you and take you across the way. So it's a pretty good bill spot. It also covers some pretty decently common shock spots. And there's also this bill strat. You have to go a little bit deeper than you did before, because the bill wants to take you up after the patch a little bit more than it normally does. But if you go deep enough, but you don't fall off, this bill will extend you all the way past the glider and give you a little speed boost afterwards. And then, of course, you guys might have seen these ones before as well. But with this boost panel, you can basically go crazy off the track and bill up there. And this bill goes really, really tight now. It used to almost take the double item boxes, which was really, really slow. And you can also do this on the left path, of course. It doesn't cut off nearly as much of the road as it does on the right path, because the fence goes a little bit further. But it's still pretty decent. If you're ever on the left path and you pull a bill, could come in handy. But of course, probably the best bullet bill on this track, and that is the final ending cut bullet bill, where you just go past the pole and bill up, and it just zooms all the way to the track at the end, and you can go really, really tight now in this bullet bill and really, really fast, and that's just a great bill spot now on Rainbow Road. It used to be terrible because that bill would take 10 years to get around the turns, and you just lose spots, honestly. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this bullet bill guide. Let me know if you want to see any more other item guides in the future. and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!